Hello and welcome to Beyond the Bookshelf, where we take a look at human performance and try to make it as practical as we possibly can. I'm joined here by Tanya Bunty and Brian Oling. Tanya, Brian, so good to see you today.
Good
You
to
as
be
well.
back.
Today, we're talking about James Clear's Atomic Habits. And in Atomic Habits, he argues that massive success doesn't come from massive action, but rather from small, consistent improvements. He calls this the aggregation of marginal gains. And I think it's a pretty interesting topic when you look at what we do here at To Win. We're really all about skills and what are the practical things that you can do differently in the way you interact with other humans, whether that be in sales or client success or executive interactions, and really making sure that we're mastering those moments that matter wherever that is. And so we're going to break down a couple of these key topics that Clear talked about. And the first one that I want to start with is this concept of systems versus goals. And the idea that he brings forth in the book is that you don't really rise to the level of your goals, but rather you fall to the level of your systems. And he talks about winners and losers have the same goals, right? Every Olympian wants to win the gold medal. The difference is the system. How do you go about achieving that goal? Curious if you all have some thoughts about how we might apply this in client engagements.
Chad, I'll start if that's okay. All right. I've got a personal example and then a professional example, and it kind of leads into that concept of system versus goals. Earlier in my adult life, I'd say mid-adult life, I decided that I wanted to do something epic, like physically, like run a marathon. And I had watched both my sister-in-laws do this triathlon. I'm like, I want to do something like that. What a great way to do it. The goal is to finish, but I didn't quite know how to do that. So I'd figure out what are the different techniques and the systems I could put in place to run a marathon. And I realized that everybody can run a marathon. Everybody can do it. Doesn't matter your body shape, your fitness level, your age. Got to be old enough to know how to walk and run. But the point is, I put a system in place on how I can train, and you start out at 3 miles, and you go 5 miles, and then you go 7 miles, and you build that up, that strength and that training in the system that I had set up for my training rigor to get there to the point where I was able to run 21 miles and 26 miles. You take that system even further, you can do ultra marathons, which scares me. That's crazy what those athletes do. But the point is, I had the goal of running the marathon and realized that I could finish that by just starting one foot and one foot in front of the other at a time with a system that would help me do that. So that in a personal goal of running a marathon and admiring what my sister-in-laws have done, that helped me get to the point where I could run 5 marathons and use that and refine that system over and over again.
Impressive.
Thank you. On a, I do have another couple marathons in me, but maybe halves or something like that. But just the adventure and going through the system is actually what was more fun than achieving the marathon. It was the adventure going along that I really enjoyed. On a professional standpoint, earlier in my pre-sales career, I decided I want to get better at executive conversations, that C-suite conversation. There is a different level of emotional intelligence you have to think about, communication style, brevity, being articulate, pausing for effect. Those are different tactics that I had learned. And so earlier in my career, I'm like, I want to sell to higher levels within the organization. And so I studied communication styles, read a few books, watched people like Steve Jobs who are really good about presenting visually and telling a story. Using methodologies like demo to win, etc., also helped me. And I was able to just really think about making my presentation templates real simple and having no more than one or two concepts per slide and telling that narrative and that story throughout. So from a professional standpoint, the goal was getting better at executive level presentations externally. I was able to develop that and then use that internally to help me ascend in my career to have eventually an executive role. And so that communication style and building a system, just be practiced to be really simple on that, is what helped me get through. And ultimately, the goal kind of faded away. It didn't matter. It was having fun of the journey, the adventure of getting there that was my atomic habit.
Yeah, I think there's something to that, right? The journey along the way. becomes the main thing. And that's really one of the main points that Clear talks about here. I remember there was a year, and I was a pre-sales leader, and I was kind of supporting two other sales directors as peers. And our organization had a higher goal than we had distributed quota. It's the benefit of being several years into a private equity situation.
That never happened. What are you talking about?
Dramatic growth at whatever cost, so long as it's not headcount. But I remember looking at that, I was like, how are we going to do this? And so knowing we had to qualify really well, right? We had to ruthlessly qualify just because we didn't have enough headcount to waste. Our win rates we needed to win more deals than we did in the previous year. So we had these goals of this win rate, right? This many deals. Like we did the math. We're going to go after, this is how many deals we can go after. We need to win this many of them in order to hit this target with the staff that we have. So we kind of had it all on paper. This is how it needed to work. But I think what really, we did hit the target. We exceeded goal. But what allowed us to do that is the way we approached it, the system we built. Like we reworked our qualification engine, reworked the way we demoed. We brought in 2Win to help us with our demo strategy. And then we were just really consistent. The whole organization bought in on this because everybody knew the company number was bigger than the distributed quota. So everybody needed to overachieve. And that was going to work out for their benefit. If they had overachieved quota, they're going to make more money. So we got everybody lined up on that. And I think what we experienced is exactly what you're talking about, Brian. Like, did we track the goal, like the revenue number? Of course we did. Like, we're a sales organization. Of course we did. But what got everybody excited wasn't necessarily the progress towards the goal. It was the satisfaction of working the process and winning along the way and seeing that progress happen. So I definitely have seen this work as well.
I like what both of you are saying because I experienced that in a support and client success department situation because I was managing a support client success department, and we had a lot of really big clients that went live. And so the tickets just went through the roof, just quote unquote, all of a sudden. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. Yeah. But the systems that we had as a smaller company were no longer keeping up. It's not that we didn't have systems. It's just that they weren't keeping up with the systems that were needed to even stay at achievement, let alone not backslide. So implementing systems that made not every decision an original thought process and an original decision was really critical that I took away from the book, because I can't think about the whole question every single time. And if I'm looking at something that occurs over and over and over again, like a support department, you can't do that and be successful and get these tickets solved. So systems like knowledge bases, libraries, AI to help us mine commonalities, super, super helpful, because then it went through a system, it went through some tiers, and we could answer, which achieved our goal of 24-hour SLAs, 1-hour SLAs, 1-hour responses, all of those things, because those systems were in place, even though our workload had gone exponential.
Yeah. Well, I love the point that you bring up around these systems helped you make decisions faster and in smaller contexts.
Yes.
So you don't have to understand the whole thing. I can imagine that in your organization where you're looking at like this volume increasing, getting that agility, that turnover to be able to make decisions more quickly made a big difference.
Huge.
Yeah. Love that. Well, one of the other things that Clear talked about in the book is this difference between identity and professional growth. So he talks about like true behavior change is identity change. The goal isn't to read a book, it's to become a reader. Or to your point, Brian, the goal is not to finish a marathon, it's to become a runner.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
another way to think about that. To me, this is one of the core things that we do at To Win. I don't know that I've thought about it this way before this conversation, but Tanya, we talk about winning hearts before we can win minds.
Yes.
In coaching. It's like we've got to get folks to that may be expecting kind of a traditional training kind of experience that may not
Mm-hmm.
be super relevant to them, may not be tailored to them. And when we come in, like we want them to be able to buy into this and be open to that.
Mm.
One of the things that we talk about in, say, Demo to Win is like understanding the purpose of a demo. It's not to educate, it's not to inform, it's not to like you're not there to be the expert on all the things the solution does, even though you probably are.
Mm-hmm.
You're there to persuade. Like you're a storyteller, you're a
Right.
consultant,
Mm-hmm.
you're the trusted advisor, right? Like whatever that identity is that helps folks understand that our job is actually a little bit different. And if I aspire to be this thing, then the skills that I need to achieve that kind of become that identity in that system.
Mm-hmm. For sure, because it's I will train them when they buy. Right now,
Yeah.
we
Right.
we need to motivate, create impact, create alignment, excitement, all of those kinds of things. So what are we? I am the type of person who coaches. I am the type of person who offers insights, who has insights, gets us out of that situation where I love this book and I love that we are discussing this book at the beginning of the year because everybody's the
Right.
resolutioners, right? And just this past Saturday, I don't know if you know this term, but the second Saturday of January is has a name.
Yes, it
It's
does.
called
Tell us.
Quitters.
Quitter's Day.
Quitters Day. Quitters Day. So usually by the second Saturday after the first of the year, people have drastically dropped off on their resolution. Now, I got some numbers from my doctor that I did not appreciate. And what
Doctors
I
do that, don't they?
what I did was I set myself up with some systems towards a little bit of a goal, but mostly with systems to help support being a person who doesn't have that number. Right? Not that I want to lose weight, not that I want to eat less sugar, not that I want to da 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 da. I just want to be a person who doesn't have that number.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my systems that I put into place that I'm still doing, yes, are now helping me be the person who already has moved that number. So that really helped me on that
Nice.
whole identity and growth thing.
Good work.
Thanks.
Brian, I've got one that you may resonate with. You were talking about becoming better at working with
Yeah.
executives.
Yeah.
So I was at a sales kickoff just last week, and I was working with.
Shocker. At this time of year?
'Tis the season, buddy.
Tis the season.
So I think this will resonate. So I was working with a handful, 20 to 30 of kind of folks out of a pre-sales group, right? And
Yeah.
so these folks have been kind of handpicked to move into this executive engagement type of a role. And what they're seeing is in their industry, this company has the overwhelming market share in Europe and Asia for their solution. And what they're seeing is that executives are really looking for. I'm being a little bit vague because I don't want to say who
Yeah,
it
I
is
got you.
necessarily, right?
Protect the company.
So they got overwhelming majority in Europe and Asia, and what they're finding is executives are looking for this company to provide not only expertise in what they do, like the core system,
Okay.
but in how they should be thinking about how they grow their business. And so they're pulling from like the pre-sales group these folks that are going to go have conversations with CEOs, COOs of big corporations. And I remember I was in there and somebody made a comment around, I mean, if you want me to do a technical architecture, if you want me to talk about integrations, if you want me to talk about any of this kind of stuff, I'm the expert at that, but I've never been a CEO of a big company. I have no idea what to talk about. And I sat down with him, and Tanya, you and I've heard you share this as well. I said, hey, look around the room. Look at the people here. Like, you know who these people are. Think about situations where you've seen them and where you've seen them provide advice. It was excellent advice. Now, I want you to think about how many people in the world have the point of view that you have, because you work with these people every single day. Not just one of them. You work with thousands over the course of a year. And the collective experience that you have, the insights that you have, just think about this. Where else in the world could a CEO go to get access to the information that you have? And they're like, I've never thought about it that way. It's like,
They don't, because their normal is not normal.
that's right. I was like,
Their
you
normal's not
are the
normal.
purveyor of this information, and it is incredibly valuable. It is a great privilege for a CEO to be able to get access to that information for free and to be able to apply that.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of that identity of like thinking about it that way is like, okay, there really is some interesting expertise that is held here. And if we thought about that differently, it may lower the barrier to get into some things that we may be a little bit nervous to get into.
Sure.
I love the on this identity, and then we can shift to some other topics. Just to add on to this real quick, Chad, is, some of the things I've coached my employees and leaders on is networking. Networking like crazy is really, really important, especially in this day and age, trying to find your next job or expand within a company. And a lot of the pushback I get, or the concern, is more of this concept around imposter syndrome. And I don't want to get into other books and theories, but people are like, I don't know if I can go meet with that executive when I'm a frontline manager because I just don't know what I talk to them about. And it leads into what you're saying, Chad, where I asked them to think about their identity in the sense that, like, you talk to executives every day when you're selling our solution. You have so much experience. Be confident in that. They're themselves. That you talk to people every day selling our solution to executives is one thought. And then the other one, to get past this imposter syndrome, and is to foreshadow this identity of, I have something of value to bring them. Talk about Atomic Habits, talk about a book, bring something of value to that conversation. You do it every day to your customers. Now go network and do that, and to reach out and reach up in your conversations, which will boost your career. And take this concept of identity and think ahead. So.
Love it. One of the other things that Clear talked about is the 4 laws of behavior change. So he talks about making it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying.
And their inverse. Yeah. Brian, you were talking about, you were talking about this a little earlier. I'm curious about your take on it first, and then I'll chime in.
Well, on the 4 laws and making, okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
To extend that, making something simple is, I think, really, really hard to do. And, one of the things that I also have taught people who have come, Tanya, from customer success into pre-sales or a sales role is you're having to shift from a mindset of consumption. Let me tell you in great detail how to use every single part of the software that equates to retention. And when we move them over into a sales process, it's like, okay, you're there to persuade them into and help them understand how this will solve their challenges and bring them real value. So there's a difference there versus educating on consumption.
And so, product point of view versus prospect or client point of view.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have so much subject matter expertise and so much depth, we can come in and we just wow them, and then you lost the deal. So you have to shift your mindset. So doing executive presentations, going back, Tanya, to kind of what I was talking about, as a goal of mine is, I remember when you get up to a certain point as an executive and you're having conversations, you might have 5 to 7 minutes within a meeting with other C-suite. We're all needing to have 5 or 7 minutes. And I will have prepared 40 to 60 hours for that 5 to 7 minutes.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So when I show up, I'm articulate. I gotta have brevity because I got 5 to 7 minutes, but I've done my homework. I know my expertise. It could go in any way. You don't know where the conversation is going to go. But the point is you build systems and you do the homework up front so that when you can come, it is a simple conversation. People clearly understand what you're saying and they can receive your message.
Hmm. I really liked the point in the 4 laws is that
Mm-hmm.
I kind of distill and I use in my coaching and my classes and my personal life with 1,000 kids uh, is make the right thing easy and make the wrong thing hard.
Mm.
Well,
And he alludes to it in the book, which is, obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, right? If you want to do things, get it there. But if you are doing something that takes you off that path, make it awkward, make it hard, make it difficult, make it uncomfortable, dare I say even painful.
mm,
So when we're talking about it in our professional world, eh, it's those moments where if this workflow works, we're doing it right. Where did the workflow break? Where did the system not support you? Those are is it not supporting you because it's broken? Or did it not support you because you're making a choice that we shouldn't be making? As a team or as a presenter, as an individual, or as a communicator in general, right? Did I overthink it to the point where I made myself inefficient? We run into this a lot in Demo to Win when we're designing our presentations and we're not ruthlessly prioritizing. Like, oh,
yes.
I'm running out of time. My meetings go long. Are you saying yes because somebody asked you a question and it took you too long? Why did you say yes? What's going on? The right thing should be easier than this. Yeah, and
Mm.
so those kinds of things were thought provoking for me.
I love that. One of the things that stood out to me is make the right thing easy
Hmm.
and the bad thing hard. I don't remember exactly how you said that, but that
Yep,
was
the
right.
wrong thing hard.
The
Yep.
wrong thing hard, which is kind of what he talked about in environmental design,
Hmm.
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Like talking about like the environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior.
Oh, for sure.
Like motivation is maybe overrated. Environment is the key.
Hmm. That's exactly right.
Wait, chocolate? Don't put chocolate in front of you on the
Sure, if you want
table?
to eat more chocolate, put chocolate in
Ah,
front of me.
if you want to eat more chocolate. I love that because
I have to go run then.
one of the things that's really helped me, again, back to that whole numbers discussion earlier, I now have implemented a couple of things. How he talked about if you want to read more, put a book on your pillow, right? So that you read before bed and all of those kinds of things. I have implemented a couple of these environmental designs that have really helped me. I started laying my workout clothes out at
Yes.
night
Yep.
and I put them on the bathroom counter.
Yeah.
Because what do? You get up in the morning and you immediately go get your day started. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, right. I also had to start packing my bag, and it's in the passenger seat of my car, so I see it. And just making things visible, making the in a work situation, making those things visible are I like to translate into KPIs. The dashboards, I immediately start every
Yes.
day with that. But I don't doom scroll. I don't, flip. I just say, oh, these are the 10 things. And I write my to-do list the day before. I don't write my to-do list in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm finishing my day, and this is also a Stephen Covey
Yep.
thing, right?
Yep.
So all
Which
these
one
things
though? Tell me.
intersect. I can't.
Begin with the end in
Don't quiz
mind,
me.
or
I don't. Yeah, begin with the end in mind, probably. But at the end of my day, I
yeah.
say, this is what's not done. This is what I need to do. And Chad, to borrow your thing, a lot of times that we talk about is also what is urgent, what is important, and what might be nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And those environment designs just really just help my day go so much smoother.
Yeah.
Do you guys have things that you do? Like just put right in front of your face?
I'll say a quick one that is maybe less sophisticated than that. It's more like an emotional thing for me.
Mm.
I clean my office a little bit every day and definitely on Sunday. Vacuum it, dust it, water the plants. I like it. I like a clean, organized work environment, which is shocking if you knew me in high school. Like, not the same person, but that's just a simple thing. Like I don't like water rings or coffee rings on my desk. I want everything to be clean. I don't like fingerprints on my iPad. I clean that. It's just little things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to work with the things that I have available to me. I like my
Mm.
desktop to be clean. I like my camera mounted and always available, so I don't have to worry about anything like that. Like if it's easy, I'm gonna do it. If it's
Yeah.
hard or I don't enjoy operating with it, I don't do it.
Yep.
Jed, my dad used to have a coffee cup, and it said, "A clean desk is a sign of a cluttered mind." And his desk was god awful. Like it was so bad. Like he had a super clear mind. If that coffee cup was true, I never adopted it because I'm a lot like you. I need to have a clean desk because if I got clutter, I can't think. It distracts me. I hate
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
I'm
So
the same way.
I love that. And then Tanya, over to you. One of the things I learned about running marathons that people used to say is when you go to bed, wear your workout gear. Workout gear is pretty comfortable. I don't do that because that's like a bit much, but people are like, hey, you got your Nike, it's a comfortable shirt and put some shorts on, sleep in that, and then you get up, put your shoes on, go. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
even going to the next level, that's a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
But, back to kind of personal and professional environment design, one of the things I've done is I love music. Chad, you love music. A lot of people do. And so, see, I got a guitar over there. This is my office space. I have a guitar. And in my house, in my living room, I have a guitar. And my son, who's 18 now, when he was really, really young, I had a keyboard in the main living area too. So I have musical instruments in every part of his world and his environment. He's now 18 and he plays piano beautifully and he plays guitar beautifully. And nature or nurture, we can have that's another whole book and a conversation, but
Sure.
my wife created an environment for him. We designed it so that it was instruments were accessible at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one where personally that came up. And I think from a professional, kind of standpoint, I'm thinking as a leader, pre-sales leader, executive, creating organizational designs are really important. And so
Yeah.
creating organizational designs where you have the right span of control. So when I was at SAP, we had a 1-to-7 span of control. One leader has the ability to lead, coach, inspire, educate, and remove obstacles for about 7 people. Any more than that, it gets really hard.
Yeah.
And then
There's
you got meeting
drift.
with your manager or your employees once every 3 or 4 weeks, and that's not useful for anybody. So how you design your organization can also tie into environmental design and what you want to create out of team culture and inclusivity and equity and all those important concepts, safe and transparent design of your teams,
Mm-hmm.
high performance teams. So I liked what he was talking about, how you can bring that into how you build out an organization or a team as well.
I have found that, and Chad, you and I have talked about this. I just have this one thing, and then we'll go to our next thing, which is our interrupter culture, which is systems like you're talking about with your experience in organizing teams and systems for teams. I have found Slack and instant messaging to be a little bit jarring to my productivity.
Yes.
And Chad and I, a few years ago, we put into place in our systems that, hey, just so you know, I don't have Slack on during the day because I can't get interrupted like that. Instead, I check my email the first thing in the morning. I check it at lunch. I check it in the middle of the afternoon, and I check it before I leave. I check my
Yeah.
email 4 times, but if you can't reach me on that, then, it's like, it's just a system, right? And then when we have to do Slack, all right, we have to do Slack because a client wants us to, but I thought that was really helpful to control, and he talked about it in the book as well, because otherwise you just gravitate towards the siren song of, ooh, I can do that real quick, real quick, real quick, real quick. And then all those things you really wanted to get done, you were busy, you weren't productive.
Yes. Yes. And that may be different for people that have a different
Sure.
kind of work.
Yes, just for us.
We tend to, when we're servicing clients, so we've got client deliverables on a regular every day, or multiple times a day, coaching or delivering or advising or whatever it is. We got to get ready for that stuff. We're also building the business and moving things forward, and that's deep work.
Yeah.
And I think separating, even from this maybe gets out of the context a little bit of this book, but thinking about where you do creative, thoughtful, creating things that don't exist yet, like deep work is kind of the way a lot of people describe that. Finding wherever you do. For me, if I've got things that are like really heavy mental load, I just get up at 4 a.m. and I do that first when nobody's talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
But that maybe speaks to environment. Like, I know that the kind of environment I need is time bound. So if I'm up at 4, I've got to get it done before 7, because that's usually when the first meeting is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, nobody's going to talk to me. It's dark. It's just me and my cup of coffee, and it has to be done by 7. And creating whatever that is for, you all listening to this.
Yeah.
Or, like, what are those systems? What is the environment that is going to help me be most productive? That may be different for all of us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what Greg had said earlier reminded me of something that you and I were talking about, Chad, previously, and that talks about what Clear was talking about on the Valley of Disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the plateau of latent potential,
Yes.
where we get super excited because we're starting something new, and we can get pretty good quick, and where all of a sudden we hit at plateau, and then we get a little bit disappointed, and it doesn't quite seem to pay off. Do you want to talk about an experience that you had? I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, if you look at anybody coming out of one of our classes, like, you see kind of whatever skill we're teaching, like if it's executive engagement, if it's demo, whatever, right? They're at whatever level, if it's high or low, right? They're at a level, they coming out of this class with an awareness of a way to do this, a system, tactics, skills, and you see this lift, and it's usually substantial.
Yeah.
But they've also invested hours with us going through this, and they have this big ramp, and they come out of this. And for some people, it may continue for a while, but then it starts to plateau.
Yep. Life gets in the way, or
it's not that it's worse. It doesn't necessarily even have to like come back down, but it's like, I've got this growth, and then it's slower. And that's like that, sorry, I lost it. Plateau.
The plateau.
Yeah.
Latent potential.
Latent.
Right?
There you go. I got you.
And the thing is, like, I put a certain amount of energy in to get this much better. And then it starts to plateau. And I keep putting in this effort, and it feels like nothing is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But if you keep doing that, what tends to happen is you hit another growth curve.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these small improvements, and then something clicks, and then you grow again. And I've seen this in my personal life and fitness. If I go on a fitness journey, I might lose a certain amount of weight or gain a certain amount of strength pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. And then it kind of plateaus off. It's like, I don't get as strong as fast, but if I stay after it, there might be, there's this capability or some muscular imbalance that got fixed, and now I grow again. And you see this over and over in music, same sort of thing. I can play this thing, and now it's like, I got a lot better, and now I don't feel like I'm getting any better. And then all of a sudden something clicks. So you see this over and over and over again. I guess the encouragement for folks listening to this would be, recognize that as a natural element of human performance.
and keep doing it.
And
because
keep doing it.
the human brain isn't, I mean, it's built for reward. It's built to avoid pain. So when we hit that plateau, you're right where you should be. You're doing great. Keep going, right? Winston Churchill, when you're going through hell, keep going.
Keep going. Yes.
Don't just stay there, and don't just get super disappointed, because it's the plateau where the growth lives, right?
Yeah.
You did really good, and now you're here. Stick with it, stick with it, stick with it, and then keep going.
Yeah.
Because it's just, in those habits, it might not be immediate gratification, and that makes us.
Yeah, well, particularly in the current society that we live in, we have
Chad.
like the dopamine dumps and the instant gratification that we're, all of us are so used to. And it's like, I remember coaching somebody, and they were in the middle of a class. We were working over like a week, and somebody came back and was like, yeah, I tried this thing and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, talk to me about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of that, I was like, okay, I would agree with you that it didn't work that time.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that the effort was wasted, and that doesn't mean it won't work next time.
Yeah.
The thing is, oftentimes when you're changing behaviors or learning new skills, the thing that was so comfortable and you're doing something new, it feels so weird.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I think we talked about this, like when you cross your arms
Mm-hmm.
and then you change them and say, all right, so my right hand's on top, so change it so the other hand's on top.
Yeah.
Like
Weird.
for me, that feels so awkward.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if you're changing something, you may not perform at the same level that you used to because you've changed something, but that doesn't mean that you won't get better and that's not worth it. So just kind of working through that and maximizing your potential, even if you're not seeing the immediate results. Stay with the system, stay with the identity, believe in who you're trying to become to be, and it will happen.
Brian, how do you maintain consistency during that plateau period?
Yeah, PPO, I have a lot of acronyms. TLA, 3-letter acronyms. So PPO is persistence pays off.
Ooh.
And so when you get to that plateau, you may not be getting as many dopamine hits as usual. And leaning into both what you were saying is that's where your persistence will pay off, and stick with the systems, Chad, like you were saying. One of the ways I've been driving consistency in that is to evolve the systems. How do I tweak the systems to make it a little bit better instead of creating new systems? And it's in that evolution where I tweak or I learn, I go, oh, that really sometimes ratchets up a new trajectory for me. So for me, it's persistence pays off. Don't worry about the dopamine hits, they'll come, but really evolve that. And to your point, Tanya, look and lean into that as a way to reward yourself for the trajectory you were on.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise and build some great atomic habits there, and then that'll iterate for your next growth. You can't constantly do this in life. You can't.
Yeah.
Like that's another. Your bodies aren't constantly built for that type of growth. So you get out growth, drive productivity, efficiency, and this is what you do with organizations and teams: growth, efficiency, productivity, growth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's to answer your question. That's what I
and one of the things that I kind of chewed on a little bit in this regard is, especially in the valley of disappointment, is not everything gets to have your emotions. So sometimes you don't want to go to the gym, and Clear says it's okay to miss it once, but don't miss it twice.
Yeah.
Like, whatever your habit is that you're trying to work on, miss it once, you're human, it's life. Don't miss it twice, because now you're establishing another habit. So sometimes if our new habit is hard, and it does not matter if it's business or professional, if your new habit is hard and you're starting to have a whole bunch of feelings about it, does it really deserve your feelings? I don't actually have to have a feeling about feeling good at my alarm clock going off at 4:30 in the morning to go swim at the pool in the wintertime when it's cold. I don't have to have a feeling about that. I need to turn off the alarm, and get into my swimsuit and go. No feelings. Just do it. Very Nike, I understand. But if you stay out of that feeling space, especially when you're in that disappointment place, I think that it's super helpful to keep it in a rotation that doesn't deserve that churn in your mind and in your emotions.
Yeah, love that. And Brian, you mentioned just a minute ago about iterating on systems, and
Yeah.
and
Evolving. Yeah.
that kind of leads into kind of the last point, and
Mhm.
maybe we'll talk about this and then wrap it up. Habit stacking. Right? The best way to build a new
Yeah.
habit is to identify a current habit that you already do and stack this new one on top. So, for example, I'm working on building AI fluency, assistants, agents. And so one of the habits that I have is in taking notes on client calls. Right? What are their key outcomes? And so one of the things that I'm doing immediately is as soon as I finish a client call, I'm going to my AI assistant and I'm running the transcript through that to validate if there's anything I missed and to continue to build accuracy and fluency in some of these agents that we're building.
And I like that because it feeds into clear statement of the habit has to have a time, it has to have a location, it has to have a lot of specificity. So after every call, I take my notes and I put it through AI after every call so that there's always a thing that's a trigger to make the habit happen. And then what you do after that, okay, the call is finished. I had a call. Check. Now into the agent. Check. Now evaluate. Boom, boom, boom. I really like what you were doing there. Ryan, do you stack habits?
Yeah, my wife's a third grade teacher. I joke that she's never left third grade. That's been her for 25 years. She's taught third grade.
She's got to be super fun.
She is. She can tell you number sense. That's something you learn in third grade with 8, 9 year olds. But I also was blessed in going into cell education technology. If you look at my LinkedIn resume there, and one of the things I learned is that with education and knowledge, it's you scaffold that,
Yeah.
and so habit stacking is the same type of concept. And so I learned to lean into that and to understand pedagogy, and that's how the human brain learns. Is you can't take and do it all at once, and so Chad, I love what you're doing. You're just starting small and you got a little habit, and it's just creating that muscle memory. Which, if you're an athlete or you're playing music or you're performing in your job, whatever level you are, that small habit, once you iterate, you won't think about it anymore. You're just going to do it. And then you stack on another habit and you iterate on that. Maybe a little bit of a plateau there. That's okay. Keep doing it, evolving it, add a third habit. So, yeah, I guess tying it into what I learned from my wife, but also in education technology, what we teach our kids in adult learning is you got to scaffold and stack. So it's
Yeah.
in a lot of different books, and it's amazing when you get it done right.
And then it gets exponential because one of the things that I really love is being able to follow some of our clients through
Mm,
their education journey when they take more than one class from us.
yeah, I love it.
Somebody might take discovery first, and they learn how to explore with anyone that they're talking to about, hey, what's
Right.
going on currently, and what do you want to have go on, and how will that change your life, and how are we going to measure that success for you, and just thinking in that way. Super simple formula, right? We all talk about CDIM, right? Great.
Yes.
I've got that habit. Check. CDIM. I write it on a piece of paper every time I take notes. It's CDIM all the time. Then oh my gosh, now I can build a demo with demo to win because I have this and it goes there, and I have this and it goes there, and I have this and it goes there. And now we're stacking, and now I've got a demo. I've had good conversations. I know about my client. I know about value and impact. And now I can have a demonstration that actually speaks to them for them. And now we can carry that vision throughout. I just love that it's so clear to be able to take those steps. And it's fun to see their aha moments.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, like Brian was saying, and what you're saying, you stack
Mhm.
these skills. They've got the brain awareness to move up, to add another thing in. They become competent at that. They move another one in, and this performance keeps going up and up and up. Well, Tanya, Brian, really, really interesting conversation with the two of you. How about a final thought? Any key takeaways from this conversation as a final summary?
My thing that I loved about this book, personally and professionally, is to just set yourself up for success by those little tiny things, and those little tiny things support you even when you're not feeling it. Just let those things do the heavy lifting so you don't have to. I really loved that.
Yeah, that's good. Brian, how about you?
I think from me, and it kind of ties into off the bookshelf last conversation we had, and that is anything good in life is hard to develop and get to. And, having a great career is hard. You got to work at it. Being a performance athlete is hard. You got to work at it. And so in life, we have to figure out how to get to what we really want, which is good. And so discipline, that structure, having concepts like, thank you, James Clear, Atomic Habits, that help us break it down in a digestible way is important. So anything good in life is hard. Now here's some concepts that we shared with you today of how to do that and that I've internalized. That's maybe what I'd walk away from this with.
Yeah, I love that. I would say that from a Clifton strengths or a Gallup strengths perspective, like two of my top strengths are maximizer and achiever, which means I'm a perfectionist. And I would say in my adult life, I've come to recognize that can mean that I don't start a lot of things because I'm not perfect at them already. And I think books like this are helpful reminders that it is the daily disciplines that you get put in place, put in this. I love, again, Tanya, your comment around make the good things easy, and putting those systems in place, not expecting to be perfect, dealing with the plateaus as they come. But if you're consistent, working at the edge of your abilities, and you're putting in these systems, that performance is going to come because you're putting in the work that some people are unwilling to do. And I can take some solace, I guess, in knowing that the hard work, the daily discipline, is worth it because you're working towards something that's meaningful to you.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for the conversation, everybody.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for joining. We'll look forward to next month.
You bet.
All right.
And Chad, I think, as we wrap it up here, we talked about beyond the bookshelf. We got a whole bookcase here. Like, we got so many topics. We're having fun. Thanks everybody for joining us. Next time we'll pull another book off the bookshelf of our bookcase.
Right. Yes, absolutely. All right. Thanks, y'all. It's good to see you.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.